everyone. This is Mahadeva the Thunder Wizard. Welcome back to the thunderwizard.com YouTube channel. And this is the Solar Flash update for September 1st and 2nd, depending on where you live on the planet. It's September 2nd where I am. But if you're watching this live, it is September 1st for you. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff going on. We've entered into the month of unbelievable shift, transformation, explosive, all kinds of stuff. So enlightenment symptoms are exploding. Ascension symptoms are exploding. And there are two ways to handle this. And one is to learn how to tap into yourself spiritually. This can turn into an incredibly blissful spiritual experience. Or, as if you're human like I am, there's the possibility of crippling anxiety as your nervous system and your mind and your spirit struggle to accept what is happening. Listen, I won't lie to you, I'm in that spot as well. I do have techniques that I can use to get me into a state of flowing with the intensity. But I have had my own share of feeling anxious and intense emotions, fear, those kinds of things. So let's talk about first how to handle the energy. I don't know what's happening on a solar level. I'm not aware that there's any solar storms hitting Earth. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not aware of that. What I am aware of is that I definitely feel the collective unconscious of the world is, everybody is feeling something, either intuitively or consciously. I personally know of some people who are absolutely flipping out. They've become just complete crazies, and they sound like crazy people because they don't have the tools to handle the emotions, and they don't even know what it is that's bothering them. I know a lot of people like me are having a lot of feelings, a lot of intense feelings, and I can't speak for anybody else, but this is happening on the unconscious level. The truth is that on the unconscious level, everybody knows what's going on. And so cognitive dissonance is when your conscious mind is telling you everything is fine, and your unconscious is telling you something ain't right. Something doesn't feel right. And in order, when it comes to being part of the narrative, in order to be part of the narrative, you tell yourself everything's going to be all right. There's nothing wrong. This is just your imagination. And your inside, you're telling something is not right. Something just isn't right. We're watching what's happening in the Maui fires. I don't know if you're keeping track with some of the people, but there's some people on the ground in there that, by the way, there's a blackout. I don't know if you know that, but there's an internet blackout there. The only people who have internet are people who have access to Starlink. And if you don't have access to Starlink, you don't have internet, as I understand it. There's still no power in Lahaina. There's a complete, if you're driving on the side of the road and you pull over, cops will come out of nowhere and tell you can't stop there, even though it's perfectly safe. If you have a view of Lahaina, you can't stop there. They're not allowing any journalists, so you can't go and take pictures. It doesn't matter if you're a member of the press or not. They fenced off the whole place with black tape so you can't see in, and there's a no-fly. You can't fly a drone over it. You can't fly a plane over it. And so that's very suspicious. But people there are doing their best to get the message out. And there's one guy in particular who I've been watching, and you can tell he's really going through a lot of cognitive dissonance because he you can tell he's never been a conspiracy theorist, and you see as he's doing this, the struggle to accept the facts that are unfolding in front of him that are, on any other circumstance, he probably wouldn't have taken notice. So this is happening everywhere in terms of the cognitive dissonance. But we've now, I was going to give you the technique to handle it. So the technique to handle it is just like when there's a strong solar storm, solar radiation will give you anxiety. So when that happens, the thing to do is to relax into the intensity. And then what ends up happening, if you're able to relax into the intensity and not respond to it, it can turn into a very powerful, blissful state. It's like a cozy rev mirror. I'll write it for you. You can look it up. You're all capable of Googling. Don't ask me to do it for you. Cozy rev mirror. K-O-Z-Y-R-E-V mirror. Cozy rev mirror, the guy who invented it, surprise, surprise, was killed by the Russians. He was a Russian. But the technology has gotten out anyway, and when he created this, it's basically a circular mirror chamber. And when you sit in it, the first thing that happens is that you feel intense anxiety. You might even become physically ill. And then you get to a point, and then that breaks, and then it becomes incredibly blissful. And then you start being able to see into other dimensions, look into other times. And I believe this is how, if you choose to believe it, the dark force rulers of the world, this is how they plan out their, things that they're going to do to create fear that will allow them to control people. So even in that, you see that the anxiety is telling you that if you're able to relax into it, actually what will happen is you'll have a spiritual empowerment. Now, the reason why you're having anxiety is because the awareness that will come to you on that spiritual level will be so contrary to everything you believe you know about reality that it could cause mental fractures. It's there's no shortage of people out there bonkers walking around, and they're bonkers because they're fighting with these awarenesses. I went through it the first few months over a year ago when I had my first ET experiences, my first communications with them. I went bonkers because my brain and my physical body went, because I just couldn't make sense of it. It was so bizarre compared to my normal reality that I was not in my, anyway. So the reason why we have anxiety is because our mind is trying to reject these things as being true. They can't, our mind can't accept it. So you turn your mind off, your intellect, trying to figure it out. You stop trying to figure it out, go into the intense feelings and relax into them, and that can then give you a state of actual bliss. And you will have awarenesses that will come to you. They might be challenging, but again, the difficulty, the painful awarenesses is really just us fighting with the truth. And if we don't fight with the truth and we accept it, then it can be a very blissful experience. Easier said than done. Let's see, what else? So it's also very important to keep yourself physically active. So if you are somebody that goes to the gym, keep going to the gym. Luckily the surfing was good the past couple of days, and I've been surfing 2 days in a row, and that just, that mellowed me out and helped me out a great deal. Helped me to get to some deeper awarenesses, cry over some stuff, let some stuff go. And so if you aren't a gym goer, I recommend you start. because getting your physical body moving allows you to work through that that anxiety. Make sure that you indulge in your hobbies, whatever that is. You play an instrument, you like to draw, you like to paint, hike in the woods. I don't know, whatever your hobby is, do it. So keep yourself physically active, and do not stop doing your hobbies. Do not obsess on things that you see in the mainstream media. Don't obsess on researching. Now, I am researching as we go, and I upload videos to Rumble when I find stuff that I think is important. But I am also working hard to make sure that I keep myself healthy. Oh, isn't that interesting? So I tried to put a link for astrology, and the song and the link to Tool's song "Sober" came up. So that was an accident, because I was sharing that with somebody. By the way, that song "Sober," if you've ever watched it, if you watch the live version, it is so intense. The audio isn't all that great, but the performance is so intense, especially of the singer. And the reason why I was sharing it with somebody was because they were talking about, they're a musician, and I said, how important it is to be a musician. That song actually has had the effect of helping people get sober. Like, I remember reading somebody's text who was a heroin addict, and just by listening to the song, the lyrics and the presentation of the song was so powerful. He related so much that it actually helped him to get clean from heroin, which is a big deal. So the other thing is, there's a line in there, which in that song, which is really what's happening with the dark force people in the world. And the line is, "I am just a worthless liar. I am just an imbecile. I will only complicate you. Trust in me and fall as well. I will find a center in you. I will chew it up and leave. Trust me, trust me, trust me." And that is exactly what is being given to the world through the narrative. The truth is, the narrative that you are being given is a psychopathic, if you want to call it a reptilian who wants to suck your life force. This is what's happening. I'm going to say this, since this came up, I'm going to just flow with it, but it's not my intention to cause any fear, because there isn't anything to be afraid of. If you're following the path of spirit, you are protected, guaranteed. So you got nothing to worry about. But what has been awakening for me in all of this is, I wasn't unaware that there were psychopathic people, powerful people who want to steal your money and steal your land, and they're not averse to the idea of people dying in their pursuit of getting what they want. But what has been absolutely blowing my mind is watching what's happening in Maui. If you know what happened about that, the accident where the cops blocked off the exits and rerouted people back into the fire to their deaths. All of the mistakes that people made, oops. I thought that the sirens were only for tsunamis. Oh, that's right, it's also for wildfires. The guy who blocked off all of the water to the hydrants that day. Oops. The governor and the mayor being out of town that day. Oops. And all the stuff that's happened since. You can't escape the feeling, not making this accusation because I don't have facts to back it up, but it's very easy to come to the feeling that not only were people trying to make a land grab, but that it's very easy to come to the conclusion that somebody wanted to consciously massacre thousands of people. We still don't know where the kids are. Nobody's talking about any of that. Nobody officially. And so what has really blown my mind when I look back over the past 3 years is that there's a conscious, deliberate attempt to murder millions of people. And that's the part that hurts me the most. Doesn't surprise me that there's somebody out there that wants to steal your land and take your money, and if you die in the process, they can deal with it. But when somebody's consciously choosing to massacre millions of people, billions of people, that's really hard for me to understand. That's very painful for me. But I'm here to tell you that's what the dark force people are not doing. They are now fulfilling plans they've been working on for decades, if not hundreds of years. And so I'm not here. We're not going to indulge in the fear because there's no need for it. But it's very saddening to me. And unless I'm wrong, let me just say something else too. I am not a prophet. I am not a channeler. I am not a psychic. So I don't need for any of these things to be true. The things that I tell you about, the upcoming shift and the solar flash and the world splitting into two, I don't need for any of that to be true. I'm not some crazy religious lunatic who, has an axe to grind. I don't need this to be true. But the evidence is overwhelming. And I won't lie to you, I'm still in cognitive dissonance about all of it. ETs came to me a couple weeks ago and said to me that don't be afraid, but there's going to be a lot of cataclysms in the world. And they specifically used the phrase globalist acts of terror. And they're very kind when they do it, and they say, don't be afraid, you're going to be fine. You're going to know exactly what to do when the time comes. You're going to be safe. I can only assume that's true for everybody else. But we just want to let you know. And then the Maui fires happened. And then all of the things that came out of that. And then, as you see on my Rumble channel, I looked into what's going on in China. And I was absolutely, totally, completely blown away. And even with all of that confirmation, I'm still in a state of cognitive dissonance. There's still my rational brain is going, that's just not possible. That's just, everything's going to be fine. But a meditative state is to not reject any of the feelings or experiences that a person is having. And I am currently, I'm listening to all of it. I'm listening to my unconscious mind. I'm listening to the dreams that I'm having, which are letting me know that on an unconscious level, there's a lot of things going on with me that I'm sensing. And I can't deny the messages that have been continued to be given to me, which along with that, the reason why I tell you about, they told me globalist acts of terror was because I never take any of those messages as anything other than that's an interesting message. I don't do anything with it. Then when I see it come to pass, then I look back on it and I go, okay, what exactly did they say? And I realize, what they said is true. I wasn't making that up. And So this lends a lot of power to this idea of this solar flash coming. I don't need to believe in the solar flash. I don't even know if I do consciously believe it. It's what I was told by them. They told me it was coming. They have given me other signs that lead me to believe that there's going to be a split. There's going to be at least two frequencies. And it's in fact they used the symbol of a piano. Piano octaves. It's the same musical tone, but one octave up, and three. I heard three different octaves. So there's at least going to be two. There might be more than that. And as a result of the solar flash event, people will end up on the frequency that aligns with them, which means that you will have to choose. And I can only speak for myself. Maybe this is why I've been chosen to give the message that I give. None of this has been easy for me. I am not one of these New Age people that have been spouting this since 1987 when the harmonic convergence. You remember the harmonic convergence? Those of you who are old enough? Remember that? And there are people who have been talking about the shift and ascension since then. And I wrote them off as being, they're nice people, but, let's come back down to earth, you guys. This is just all fantasy. You're looking for stuff to escape from your... And I'm sure that's true. There's a lot of people that do that. To this day, there's a lot of people that are into the solar flash, and they're escaping their uncomfortable feelings. They're spiritualizing their pain. I am not one of those people. It is not easy for me to accept these concepts. But I'm not going to close my eyes to it, especially when I've had experiences that I cannot explain, that go far beyond anything in this third dimension. And so for me, the evidence is piling up. This is coming. This is coming. And as I sit here saying it, I can feel my heart just sink. It's not an easy concept for me. And the idea of, what this is going to mean. Are we going to, is it going to be like the rapture where in a blink of an eye we go up into the sky? That's been given me, that message has been given to me. That's hard for me to comprehend. But they've made it clear, I'm not going to get specific, but they've made it clear that this earth that I'm on right now, if I interpret their messages correctly, I won't be here at some point. I will not be on this earth at some point. Perhaps soon. And that's not a comfortable thought either. So, these are the kinds of feelings that are coming up. Now, one of the things that's happening astrologically, and this was what I was trying to do, so I'm going to go ahead and put the correct link in there for you so that you're not necessarily watching that Tool song. If you don't want to watch it, that's okay.
People have no...
Let's see, what is this? No, that's not it. So, just give me a second here. I'll get that's not what I want to do. I'll give you the link here in a second that I wanted to give. I've probably given it up before, but this is about the things that are going to be happening astrologically in September. And I've never seen anything like this. The astrological events and the sheer number of astrological events that are coming for us this month are unprecedented.
One to start.
There is something that's going to happen to the United States astrologically that has never happened in the entire history of the United States. And it's going to be potentially very transformative. Okay. So here it is. There you go. September astrology. I'll put it in the video description so that we have the right one instead of watching that very powerful song there. Okay. All right. So now I've fixed the links on both the description and in the chat. So one of the things that is happening right now as we are entering into September 1st, we have Mars in a 6-8 relationship with retrograde Saturn. Mars is in Virgo. So Virgo is a harsh sign. It's a sign of healing, but Virgo is the sign of the bitter medicine. You know, you've got a terminal illness and you're going to have to swallow this pill and it's going to taste bad. You're going to have to take a look at yourself and you are going to have to allow this transformation. This is the kind of healing that Virgo does. Virgo doesn't come to you with love and happiness and energy healing, although you could be a Virgo energy healer. Virgo comes to you and says, we got to operate. Here's the exact thing you have to do, and you must follow the directions specifically, or you will not recover. Make this potion every day, or you will not recover. This is Virgo. And Mars is sitting in Virgo, which means Mars is the warrior. So Mars is a surgeon. Mars digs. Mars direct in your face, refuses to take any nonsense. And Mars is action. You must take action. So Mars is sitting in Virgo saying to the world, you must take action on this. And as a surgeon, I am going to reveal to you what has been going on this whole time. And you must face it. So there's going to be revelations in ways, of things, again, what's happening to me. I've been talking to aliens for, almost a year and a half. I've gone to different dimensions and I've written 2 books on it, and I'm blown away. I am shocked. I'm in a state of cognitive dissonance over what I'm seeing. Mars is revealing. Oh, you want to see the truth? Sure you can handle it? You can handle the truth. Here it comes. So when Mars is in any relationship with Saturn, see, people misunderstand Mars-Saturn relationships. Astrologers superficially will say that when you have Mars and Saturn coming together, it creates a fight because they're doing 2 different things. Because somebody will say, Mars is trying to put your foot on the gas pedal and Saturn is putting your foot on the brake. And that's not accurate. The truth is that Mars and Saturn share a lot of commonalities. Mars and Saturn are both warriors. Mars and Saturn are both judges. And Mars and Saturn they're demon fighters. So if you wanted to have, for instance, in my chart, I have Mars and Saturn aspecting each other. And so what ends up happening is that if you get in a fight with me, I'm going to destroy you. Even if I'm wrong, I will destroy you in a verbal fight. Physical fight, martial arts, same kind of thing. I'm one of those, I got a knockout punch. You'll never see it coming and it's going to floor you. And that is Mars and Saturn working together. The warrior that cannot be defeated. The last guy you want to mess with is somebody who has Mars and Saturn working together. So Mars and Saturn have this relationship right now, which is called a 6-8 relationship or a quincunx. which means that if you count from either one of those planets, in any direction, it's going to be 6 in one direction, 8 in another. The 6-8 relationship is death and transformation. When you have any planets in that, it's going to create, difficulties, challenges, and transformation. When you have the 2 planets that are most associated with transformation and destruction of evil, when you have them in this relationship, it means all-out war. And it's going to be ruthless. Mars and Saturn are going to be ruthless. Mars is the general, and Saturn is the judge. So imagine you're in a courtroom and both the judge and the general have decided you're guilty. And they are going to reveal all of your evil acts, and then you will have to pay the price. This is what's happening now. Boom. And not only is Mars and Saturn in this relationship, Saturn, which is also the planet of karma, your past deeds, Saturn is retrograde, which means he is looking into the past. And Mars is giving him the power to look into the past, and Mars is going to bring it to the forefront so everybody sees it. Now that is good. The dark force people are panicking, which is why there is an all-out attack on the world. The unprecedented weather events, forest fires in Louisiana, never happened in my entire life. In my entire life, there's never been a hurricane that hit California. So there was a hurricane that, and by the way, just because something becomes a tropical storm does not, tropical storms are no fun. They're just a little below a hurricane. They can completely destroy things. Absolutely destroy things. So for a hurricane to hit California and an earthquake, and Louisiana to have forest fires. Louisiana is a swamp. This kind of stuff is not natural. I'm just here to tell you this is not natural what's happening. And so the dark forces are panicking, and this is an all-out assault. And again, I don't want to create any fear, but it's going to continue. This is only the beginning. So this is an uncomfortable but necessary wake-up call, and people are going to wake up. Those that haven't woken up, and by the term woken up, I don't mean you've become spiritually enlightened. I mean you're aware of the dark force energy in this planet, and that the mainstream narrative, you're awake to the fact that none of that is true. But now people are going to have to awaken those that don't want to. I could put myself in that category. 2.5, 3 years ago, I would have been somebody, and I was somebody, who belittled and argued with anybody who had any kind of conspiracy theory. And short of flat Earth, I'm now on board with pretty much all of them. If you're flipping out, you're not making it up. There's a lot of energy coming at you. It's extremely important that you take care of yourself. It's very, very important. What happened? Now there's no data. My thing says that there's no data. All right, now I'm back. All right, so you got to take care of yourself. We'd already talked about that. So, let's see, what can we talk about now? I recommend that you make, the next thing I'm going to say, I'm going to repeat things I've been saying, but they need to be repeated. I do not believe that there is any benefit in focusing on normal ambitions in life. If you had talked to me 2 years ago, I would have said the most important thing you can do is to go to college and get yourself educated. And I don't believe that now. I don't believe that you should focus on material anything. I mean, look, I still have to pay rent. I still have to eat food. I still have to make money. So it's not that I'm going to all of a sudden not have a business and charge for my services. Let me be clear about that. So you got to do what you got to do to keep the lights on and pay the bills until the economy collapses, which very well might happen within this month. I don't need that to be true. If it's not true, I'll be the first one to, I'm glad I was wrong about that. But it's very possible that, keep your eyes on the dates, the 23rd through the 25th. There's a possible chance, and I say this with deep sadness, there's a possible chance the United States might fall, might completely collapse. Very least, there might be a financial collapse somewhere around the 23rd of September. I don't need to be right about that. So putting your effort into having that job and getting that money, if you're like in a position where, you know, let's imagine for me, let's just don't think there's going to be, I don't think there's going to be a political system as we know it. I don't believe that there's going to be a financial system. And I don't believe, the educational system. I just don't think any of it. I think all of it's coming down. The good news is I have to trust my friends here who are saying, don't worry, this is going to shift into something amazing. We're going to shift into a heaven on earth, for those that choose. For those that choose to evolve, it's going to be a heaven on earth. But first we have to bump into this. So my apologies for all of this, frightening stuff, but just being straight with you. And again, I'm more than happy to be wrong. The good news is, even if I am wrong, there's nothing that won't benefit you by focusing on what I'm telling you to focus on. Focus on your spirit. Focus on your joy. Focus on your passion. And take very good care of yourself. By the way, also, there might be another pandemic scare. There might be more lockdowns coming. So anyway, that's another possibility to just keep your eyes open for. But I don't think it'll have any teeth. So that's the good news. I don't think it'll have any teeth. But it is extremely important that you take care of yourself. Take care of yourself mentally and psychologically. Make sure that you connect with your loved ones. Make sure that you work hard not to take that laser focus that Mars is doing right now in finding all the problems and things. Make sure you don't direct that on your loved ones. Let them be imperfect humans. Be loving and kind. If when you're about to tell somebody, you know what you need to do, just hold your tongue and don't say it. Make sure that you don't do that to yourself. Your internal environment is going to be telling you, you're stupid for this, you're no good, you're going to have all kinds of, negative feelings coming out of you. This is your third dimensional self fighting with the higher dimensional energy that's now really going to start coming in. If you thought it was coming in before, just wait. All of the intense negativity that is coming from the 3D, there's going to be even more coming from the 5D. It's going to be an all-out frequency war. So that's a good news coming as well. And again, take care of yourself physically. And if you were thinking about changing your diet and stop eating gallons of ice cream or, Kentucky Fried Chicken, every day, or, whatever it was. You were going to cut out sugar or something like that. Now's the time to do it. If you want to go on a fast, now's the time to do it. This is the most important and the most powerful spiritual time in the history of human beings on planet Earth. And it's an incredible opportunity to grow spiritually. And I recommend, let's see, somebody says they can't hear me. I'm going to check. And I recommend, sound's working on my end, so nothing I can do about that. All right, so I recommend, as I said before in one of the last videos, the most important things are, I'm going to tell you what they are. First and foremost, I think your first goal should be doing interdimensional meditation. You can go onto my channel and you can go to the playlists there, and there are free guided interdimensional meditations. That should be first on your list. Second thing on your list should be doing the 12 steps to 5D. That's something I'm still in the process of creating those videos, but you can get started now. Especially the most important is the 4th and the 5th step. You can do that. I've uploaded the videos. I tell you exactly how to do it. Now's the time. Everybody should be doing that, in my opinion. So interdimensional meditation, working the 12 steps to 5D. And the third one is to be doing the practices. So you can go onto the channel and do the free practices where it's the Huul breath, H-U-U-L breath. Go Google that. The Awakening the Immortals, the Huar breath, any of the free practices. If you're dead serious and you really want to transform, then go here to thunderwizard.com and subscribe to the Warrior 90-Day Lightning Qigong. When you subscribe, you will see little boxes that will say 90-Day and Lightning Qigong. All you have to do is click on them. That'll take you to the videos, and just follow them in order and follow the sequences, starting with phase 1. And if you do those things, I believe you'll have all of the tools. The most important thing, I can't stress this enough, the most important thing is you must be willing to do things you've never done before. No longer will the universe allow anybody to say, I can't, I don't know how. The universe will not allow this anymore. If you really are in a place where I can't do this, I don't know how, that's good. That isn't, unfortunately, that isn't a justification for not shifting. So if you get to that place and you say, I don't know how, then you have to ask anybody, God, Zeus, Buddha, light beings, doesn't matter. You have to ask somebody more powerful than you, and you have to say, please teach me how to do something I've never done before. Please give me the power to take the actions I know I need to take. Because that's the one thing that's missing. And I've bumped into people in my life, and they're free to make their own choices, but they will say, I can't, I don't know how. And then that to them is a justification. I'm not going to because I don't know how. I can't. And that just means that you've reached the level, as far as you can go in 3D, and we have to go up to the next level. And that if you can't do it, if you can't choose, especially if you know what you're supposed to do and you can't choose to do it, then you must ask for help. Must ask for some power greater than yourself. And this is why the 12 steps are so important. I believe that the 12 steps is going to be the way people are going to function in 5D. The last thing that I think I said 4 things. So the 4th thing that is most important is what I write in my book, The Shamanic Secret Commandment. Come on. to a Perfect Life. You can find that on michaelwilliamdenny.com. Multiple formats. There's an Audible book. There's a written book. There's a digital book. But that little booklet is the most important tool for living. Most important tool for living. And if you memorize what's in that book, and if you treat that book not like a book that you read once and put down, but if you pick that book up every day and you read it, and you get that and you just drill that into your unconscious and you learn how to live that, I guarantee you, you will shift. And it is my belief that the fifth dimension, people will just intuitively live that way. And it definitely goes against the 3D narrative. So those are the most important things. The four things, what I say, the book, the interdimensional meditation, the 12 steps, and the lightning qigong, the energy work. Those are the most important things. And I think everybody should make that their primary focus. Forget about everything else. Forget about the job, forget about the career. Do what you have to do to pay the bills, but definitely don't spend time planning and thinking about how you're going to become, in this new society, there's not going to be any lawyers, probably not going to be any medical doctors. There's going to be energy healers. There's going to be spiritual teachers. There's going to be artists. There's going to be musicians. There's going to be healers, and the creative aspect of things. There's going to be places you can go for healing, but it'll be spiritual and energetic in nature. There of course will be places of learning, but they will be focused on learning to interact with the universe through the power of the quantum field and spirit. Pretty much everything we know of as being third dimensional human civilization, most of that's going to come down and will never come back. Except for those who choose to stay in it. And I would not want to be one of those people. Because it's going to be, if you think it's a dystopian nightmare out there now, people who choose to stay in it, when that world shifts down, it's going to be, 1984. All right, so that's it for me now. Thank you for your patience. The internet didn't want to hear some of the things I had to say, but that's just the way it goes. And my books, if you want to really understand what's going on with the ETs, which is going to increase, you can go and get my books. Extraterrestrials are coming to Earth, and this one here, Interdimensional Revolution, where this is important too. If you are somebody that doesn't understand the difference between alien abduction and actual extraterrestrials, I actually prove to you in that book why alien abductions have nothing to do with ETs. They're actually dark force humans pretending to be extraterrestrials. And so if you want to learn about that, Interdimensional Revolution is the book for you. And of course, we got courses.thunderwizard.com if you need an astrology reading or a rune reading or any of my other, if you've been waiting to get one of my video teachings or packages, now's the time to do it. You can find it here at courses.thunderwizard.com. And of course, I've got some stuff on Rumble. If you don't want to see how bad things are, by all means, don't. There's, the main thing that people should be doing is focusing on being happy and being connected to their love and their joy. That's if you want the bulletproof thing that will keep you bulletproof from all of the dark force actions, that's it. And so there's going to be people who are going to make the shift and they won't even realize it. They'll be so in their bliss, the shift will come and they won't even know that the world has shifted. If you want to be one of those people, I have no problem with that. If you're like me and you need to overcome your cognitive dissonance with facts of what the hell's going on, I'm uploading some videos on Rumble, which if you look at, I think will blow your mind wide open. So the shift is coming. We've now entered, I believe, the most powerful month. If the solar flash is going to come, and I'm not a prophet, I'm not prophesying, I'm not channeling. I'm not making a psychic prediction. This is just my common sense here. If I were to make a prediction on what month it's going to come, I would say it's either going to be September or October. I think October might be, if I had to pick one, I might pick October. September is going to be where all the shit's going to hit the fan, and then October is when the actual shift is going to come. We'll see. And if I'm wrong, nobody will be more relieved than I to admit that to the world. I'm not taking any more questions unless you are, in fact, subscribed to the thunderwizard.com 90-day challenge, and I recognize you. If you're new to the channel, please avail yourself of the channel's videos. Really understand what it is I'm teaching, my experiences. New people tend to ask questions I've already answered hundreds of times. And I really prefer answering questions, intelligent questions based on what I teach. So I don't see any questions, so we're good. Angela, I think I'm reading your thing here. I think that I told you that I'm going. I haven't made this announcement yet. I'd prefer to do it as a video and then send you the video because of the way my schedule is. So my apologies for the confusion on that. But I did get your astrology reading information, and I am going to upload that to video, and I'm going to send you a private link. And I think that's what I said to you. My apologies if there was some confusion. And I am now saying that publicly. I'm no longer doing the live things. I'm just going to do it via video. Doesn't mean you can't ask me questions. If there are questions that really need answering, I can make more videos and upload them to you. All right. Anyway, so I hope that's okay with you. I hope that doesn't disappoint you. But that's how I'm going to do your reading. Anything else? Nope. Yeah, if you want to sell your house, now's the time to do it. Now's the time to do it. Somebody's talked about closing on their house. Okay, that's it, guys. I love you all. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for putting up with all of the craziness here. And I look forward to, again, if the Flash don't come and I don't get beamed up to the Starship Enterprise, I will see you all very soon. My deepest love and well wishings for all of you.